And going for Randomizer. As you said, Randomizer is a very exciting mode, and I'm happy to see what they're going to do with it here.
All right, so out of the gate there, looks like we've got Aaron starting out to what looks to be going towards our castle, whereas DT immediately saves and quits up to the sanctuary and is looking like he's going to be heading towards Kakariko.
So right off the gate, just two different divergences here. Just to, again, remind the viewers here, just of the settings that we have for this mode. We have all dungeons, which means all the dungeons, including pendant dungeons and Agate Tower, must be completed in the seed, and we also get flippers on Uncle. But also open mode, so we don't need to do the escape stuff at the beginning, randomized swords. Uncle will not have anything, won't have a sword, rather. Normal difficulty, and Randomizer, which means all of the enemies in Hyrule will be swapped around. We also have Chaos Boss Shuffle on as well, so there'll be different bosses on all the boss arenas. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have for the randomized settings today.
All right, looks like we've got Tower of Hair as a crystal there, and I didn't catch the other ones in time there, but we have also got Ether from the beginning part of Escape as well, a medallion and the flippers right out of the gate.
Yeah, definitely. So Aaron already getting some pretty good items. I'm sure DT will get those as well as he's kind of making his way around. Both seem to be still going for that early Kakariko play that you do see quite a bit in these randomizers just due to the high volume of items we have. Just 10 arrows here in the forest. Gonna check the inside of the Thieves' Hut now, which we have 300 rupees.
That will go a long way towards getting some of those purchase requirements, so that is always a good thing to see early on. You don't want to have to try and fumble your way around collecting rupees to get to either Zora or the bottle merchant.
And speaking of the bottle merchant, DT actually showing a very neat little strat here that you can actually make good use of in Randomizer. If you bring a fish to the bottle merchant, you can actually get one of every type of drop, so it's a good way to kind of get bombs without actually buying bombs from the Kakariko shop, and you can also get some magic and just some other ammunition as well, even some rupees too, so a good little strat to make use of in Randomizer.
Not something you see all that very often there, but it's good to see that they have the knowledge of such rare interactions like that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm wondering if it looks like Aaron's going to do the same thing as well, so both of them very familiar with that. As we're going to take it the first treasure load of Kakariko, we got a hammer, folks. We got some more bombs, rupees, and even more rupees. Still got one more chest in the back here, though. And a single rupee.
Well, every single rupee helps there. But we've got the hammer, usually sometimes an item that goes a long way without being found, and the flippers and ether. Not hinting towards anything quite yet, but with a few more drops, we'll see where the seed is going to be pointing us.
For sure. Remember, this is all dungeons, so we're going to need as many items as possible here, because there's a lot of stuff we have to get through.
Gloves and hammer right out of the Kakariko. Kakariko is deciding to be very generous today so far. Still need that Moon Pearl to get Dark World access there, but that's 2/3 of it right there, and right in the Kakariko well. And Blind's Hut.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of locations we have in the Light World still, so that Moon Pearl, I imagine, can't be too far behind, but it can be in some annoying locations, so, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Also have a very reasonable chicken hut. That can actually be pretty dangerous in Randomizer, but thankfully it seemed pretty tame in today's seed.
I find it interesting that one of the chickens still remain, but the other 3 were replaced by those shadows.
Yeah, definitely. You'll see those shadows a lot more. They're normally only in Ice Palace, but here you can see them basically anywhere in the game.
For the most part, only a couple places left, if any, there. So we'll probably be seeing the South Shore clear after we check out the library, and possibly the Guinea's Cave if you want to make a side trip all the way over there.
Well, we do have the gloves. That could be it's a bit of a shorter walk with that. Looks like gonna see what's here at the race game. A race game item can actually be kind of dangerous because there could be some guards inside those bushes, but it looks like not gonna have to worry about that today.
Those gorilla guards always jumping out at you.
But yeah, while we're kind of moving on to some other item locations, just another quick reminder on the Randomizer settings here. For the tournament, the only thing Randomizer will be affecting in open mode, it'll be enemies. Their locations will be swapped around, as well as the Chaos Boss Shuffle option. Any of the other Randomizer options will not be used in these tournament matches. So you don't have to worry about enemy health, enemy damage, anything of that nature, just the enemy swaps and the boss shuffle. And if you're playing standard mode, it's just the boss shuffle, just with the way the Randomizer's on the site right now.
All right, so yeah, with the Chaos Bosses on right now there, the requirements for each dungeon, oh, there we got some of those bush guards that you mentioned. We have possibly requirements for dungeons that you don't normally run across.
That's right. Just as an example, Turtle Rock, you may not need the Ice Rod anymore for Turtle Rock, but if Trinox appears at any other dungeon location, that just basically adds the Ice Rod to that dungeon. You have no way of knowing until you're actually at the boss fight, so you know, it's always good to find that Ice Rod early, just in case you have a Trinox situation.
We got some of the rolling pins as well. Those are classified as enemies, so they can appear anywhere and everywhere.
Yes. Basically, anything that can hurt you is considered an enemy, so you should be wary, because anything can appear at any time. Also, this could actually be a bit of a dangerous enemy layout for this room. Again, they're not hard enemies, but just, again, the hitbox and just needing to find a way to lock them down before they can push you into that pit can be really dangerous.
That, and if you don't know exactly where they're spawning from, they can just ambush you right out of nowhere.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, we did see DT oh, there's the Moon Pearl, so we have Dark World access now, folks.
Don't have the mirror yet, so we can't go to Hera just yet, if I'm not mistaken. But that does open up a lot of other possibilities as well.
Yeah, for sure. There are definitely some options we have here, and with Dark World, we can enter from south of Link's house, we can enter from Kakariko, so there's a lot of places we can go to with that Dark World access now. But DT gonna check out the back of Escape. Got a Beamos inside here, gotta look out for that, but he makes it through just fine.
Another 300 rupees inside of the back of Escape there. So that is enough to go to Zora, if you care to do so, though. Aaron has the flippers, so making his trip there a little bit easier if he so decides. DT has not decided to check in the front of Escape yet, and has not found that flippers or that ether medallion. That may be saved for later, but we'll see when he decides to check that.
One thing you do kind of got to keep in mind about that is there are a lot of enemies in Escape normally. There's a lot of guards in the vanilla version. So when you put on Randomizer, that could be a lot of enemies that can very easily kill you if you get like Dark World variants. So could be wanting to save Escape for a bit later when you're kind of more equipped for it. So that's probably what he's thinking right now, as Aaron going to be checking Hype Cave now.
Meanwhile, DT is going into the Lost Woods again there. Well, I was under the impression he had already checked this there, but he's just going straight towards the warp tile here at the back of Kakariko. Found a Bombos medallion inside of Hype Cave.
That's pretty hype. Can't use it yet, but, you know, good to have those medallions out of the way since we do have to do all dungeons regardless. Okay, looks like we also have blue and red pendant at Skullwoods and Swamp Palace, and the green pendant at Turtle Rock.
This being on all dungeon seeds there, it doesn't really matter which ones are crystals and which ones are pendants, except for the Pyramid Fairy and also Sasha's prize for collecting the green pendant. Outside of that, any order is good as long as you have the items for it.
In fact, there will be more than likely cases where you actually have to go into Ganon's Tower to get an item for a pendant dungeon. That is definitely capable of happening, and something that can very well happen in an all-dungeon seed like this.
Indeed there. The end is not the end when it comes to all dungeon seeds. Alright, so DT decided to take a quick dip into Skullwoods at the moment there. May or may not be able to complete it depending on what... Or no, he can't complete it because no fire. I can't even open the front door to the boss's lair no matter what boss is actually inside of there.
Yep, that's true. Looks like Aaron checking out the Zora area. This is another area that can be very scary in Randomizer, and it also just creates a lot of lag, too, so best to get all those enemies off screen as soon as possible.
Thankfully, we just have the rock-spreading gremlins right there. But he makes it to Zora just fine there. Gonna find out what the big fish is gonna be coughing up today. And a shield. Not the worst thing he could give you, but not what we're looking for either.
Yeah, not the best, but not the worst either, so it's something. Okay, I think DT's just death warping there, so he doesn't have to go back through it, and also get some of his health back.
Pretty much. It's an easy shortcut back to the beginning of the dungeon, but nothing interesting turns out from this first portion of Skullwood, so we'll see where he decides to go from there. He does have Thieves Town available to him. I don't believe they... they just require standard gloves, if I'm not mistaken. Could go to Eastern Palace. That's always on the table as well. If he manages to go to the get the flippers, he can check out a few more other locations, but without the mirror, he can't check out Swamp, and without any fire source or the Titan's Vents, can't check out Ice Palace either.
Looks like we just have a few arrows on top of Bumper Ledge, so don't need to worry about this. And yeah, it looks like he is going to be going south to the Village of Outcasts area. Thieves Town is definitely available, and there is a potential to full clear. It just depends on whether or not he can beat the boss right now.
Indeed there. With the Chaos bosses, anything can happen with them. So not many of the bosses have hard item requirements like Trinex does there, but the right items do make a lot of them a whole lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. Like Armos Knights, for example, and even Helmasaur. DT can actually kill both of them right now, but it takes a very long time, and Helmasaur is especially risky because you have to kind of get into that hitbox to get hits on them. So, you know, it's doable, but can be very difficult. So I can still potentially see someone kind of skipping a boss of that nature until they're a bit more equipped for it.
Sure, yep. Hammer is melee range, so you're going to get right in the face of him with those fireballs and tail scrapes and what have you.
Definitely.
All right. Meanwhile, Aaron has made his initial dip into the beginning portion of Skullwoods there, but he's not going to find anything terribly interesting in there, unfortunately.
And here we go with DT into Thieves Town. And another thing about Thieves Town, these first few rooms are loaded with enemies, so that can be pretty tough to just get through these beginning sections to get all the items.
One interesting thing is that the dungeon that you are in does affect the lighting of the dungeon, and so you'll see a bit of odd color palettes, like on that mini Helmasaur down that DT's running around. So that it will, some enemies may look a bit odd because of that.
The best is when you find an enemy that's just not made for the palette whatsoever, and it almost glitches out and looks like something incredibly different. So we will probably see that at some point. Also, Wall Masters. They're also a thing in Randomizer.
I think you're just like, oh, this doesn't have as many enemies as you should there. What's this shadow here? Oh no! I've lost all my progress there. Pray that you do not see Wallmasters in Ice Palace.
Even during the Ganon's Tower ascent, you can find one in some of the last rooms. And just imagine having to redo the entire tower again, as well as beating all the bosses again, too. Just not fun to get captured by those if you're not expecting it.
Yeah, it will not be fun in the slightest there. Now,
Okay,
one thing about the about Thieves' Time with Chaos Boss settings there is that you don't have to go get the maiden, as we can see. You just can waltz straight into the boss room, and there's the boss.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first Trinex, so yeah, not going to be able to take that out yet, but at least we know what the boss is, and it looks like DT is not going to be advancing on to get more of the items from there. Could be just a wise decision because, again, only has the hammer to work with, and that's not the most reliable in terms of range, so he might come back when he has a sword or maybe kind of more of a ranged weapon.
He'll have to come back there eventually to when he does have the Ice Rod to beat Trinex, so use that opportunity to clear it out and pray that the Ice Rod is not in somewhere inside of Thieves' Town.
Yeah, definitely.
DT's in the digging game there where Aaron is clearing out Dark Hacker. Oh, he finds the mirror. That will open up a bunch of opportunities for him.
It will, and finding it this early in Dark World is actually pretty vital, because this way it makes kind of routing in some of these mirror spots a little bit more convenient. Is going to be able to check Cave 45 as we go down here as well.
Looks like he's going to check out Old Stumpy first. We'll see what Mr. Tree has, and he has $20 to donate towards your local arboreal fund, apparently. While Aaron is continuing on through Thieves' Town there, he has not discovered the lovely surprise that is waiting for him at the back of Thieves' Town yet, but we'll see if he decides to clear out the remaining enemies in there or not. DT's found some money in the cave south of the Grove, but doesn't need it anymore, so just leaves it be.
Okay, hopefully. Okay, good. I was actually wondering if that's monster there was going to jump down to get TT while I was lifting that rock, but thankfully I was able to avoid it just in time. Looks like he's going to check out the hint inside Swamp Palace.
The hints are a addition to this something sharp in Super Bunny Cave. Ooh, the one we know where one of our swords is. That is definitely worth it.
Can't quite get that just yet, even if we did bypass the dark room, so but as you said, good information to have, so we'll know that for later when we're up there.
It is normal difficulty there, so there are plenty of swords around there. We do not have to get that specific one to be able to get a sword, but if we want a sword upgrade later on down the line, yep, that's where we're going to have to go.
Looks like Aaron gets that nasty Trinex surprise as well. Let's see if he's actually going to be continuing to get the items in Thieves' Town, so we're going to be seeing some new stuff on his end as well.
If something important shows up here in the back of Thieves' Town there, that will be valuable information as well as a good time save.
Oh, for sure.
DT is heading over to the eastern side of Hyrule there. Looks like he is heading... not sure where he's going quite yet.
I think he just wants to see what's on the island right now, which is just some bombs, so gonna go back to the Dark World and continue.
Alright, so he's heading up past the bridge there. He is heading towards what seems to be either the pyramid or the Zora / catfish area.
Now, one good thing DT's actually done with his routing right here, he has the mirror, so not only can he get the item on the pyramid or see what it is, he can also mirror over get what's in the Uncle Cave and Hyrule Castle as well, so making good use of that mirror find.
The pyramid just has a full heart container, but with end game enemies in possibly early game locations there, you want all the health you can get.
Yeah, you are not going to be comfortable until you get like a second row of hearts and Randomizer, or at least the blue mail.
Aaron has made his way up through the back of Thieves Town and is about to get to the one of the last few remaining chests that are in here. After that, he's going to have to bail and check somewhere else. Looks like DT is getting his flippers and will be getting his Ether Medallion pretty shortly afterwards as well.
Okay, unfortunately, just the map in the attic chest here for Aaron, but again, he still has 2 more chests he can check. Maybe only one, and that small key could end up being locked in the big key chest beyond its barrier, so we'll see.
Did Aaron check the hint that was in the attic of Thieves Town there? I didn't have to look at it when he was in that room.
I actually did not check that. I did not see that. I think he did check it, but I just did not see what it was.
Interesting there. Looks like DT is going to go all the way down to the... Oh, gets a lot of hard guards there, but manages to get by. But yeah, he's going down to Zelda's cell to pick up whatever is in there.
Whoa, apparently the hint was Fire Rod and Paradox Cave, which, you know, we'd have to break the logic a little bit because we don't have Lamp, but that is technically obtainable at this current point for DT.
We don't need it quite yet, but when we do want to run into something that needs the Fire Rod, we could go and sequence break our way over to the Fire Rod that way and then go and do Skullwoods right now there, but we don't even know if the Skullwoods is completable at this point of the stage. Just because we saw Trinex in Thieves Town doesn't mean he can't appear in other places as well.
That's right, we could have up to 5 Trinexes if the seed decides to get that creative.
Creative or uncreative, you be the judge.
I guess it's more so being mean than creative. I guess mean's a better word for that, but
yeah, that's
we'll have to
right.
see. Also, I did see that Aaron did take a death. I don't know if that was intentional, like maybe he realized that the key was behind itself or not, or if he just died when going to the chest or not, though.
Behold, the magical guard who can spawn grass inside of a stone dungeon.
And what's even weirder is we're technically in the basement right now, too, so that even shouldn't, like, it shouldn't even be like it's growing from the floor.
He's a magical Dragonite. He can create all kinds of weird things around him.
That's fair. So yeah, it looks like DT is going to be going up to Catfish next. Going to be able to mirror over and get the Zora items as well. And looks like Aaron's going to be following in his footsteps. So a bit of just following each other. Catfish is going to be really the only new item we see at this point. But curious to see where they're going to go after this.
They have Eastern Palace available to them in terms of dungeons there. With the mirror there, we can now go to Tower of Hera, assuming that we can go through the Dark Passage up there first. Swamp Palace is open to them now that they have the mirror and flippers there. Thieves Town is not completable just as of yet, and we can't get into Ice Palace, Misery Mire, or Turtle Rock as of just yet.
Yeah, there do seem to be a couple of dungeons we can actually access right now. It's just, you know, they're all dungeons that we can't technically complete now either, so yeah, they'll have to make some sort of gamble or decision here to kind of route these efficiently and hope they get the items they need. Just Cane of Burna from the Catfish, but it's still early on. We still only have a hammer. Not necessarily a bad item to find.
All right, Aaron is still. It looks like he is heading towards. Going to be checking
Hobo.
out. Yeah, Hobo. Looks like it. DT is going to be checking out the King Zora and Zora's Ledge, but as Aaron has already shown us, not anything terribly interesting there at the moment.
And looks like Hobo just has a piece of heart. Does give Aaron a refill and a new container, but nothing that progresses the seed right now.
Where would you want to go next, Aaron?
Looks like he's trying to figure that out himself, actually, because there are two paths. There's the path that DT took, but he's kind of looks like he is going to be doing that. But yeah, he could also go over to the Eastern Palace and Pod area too. He has the mirror. He can check both places. He can check Sashrala's back room as well. So either option has value to it at this point.
And DT decides the shield is not worth it and just ditches it.
Yeah, I kind of don't blame him, honestly. I'm not a fan of the shield myself.
Shield, we don't need no stinking shield. I block things with my face.
I mean, he is Dragonite, so Dragonite's one of the most powerful Pokemon in the world, so.
It is a pseudo-legendary, you are correct. Alright, so where is DT going there? Is he heading, have we checked Ice Rod Cave yet? I don't believe we have.
I don't think we have either. I think Aaron went straight for Zora items after he got Mini Moldorm Cave, so I don't think we've seen this yet.
Alright, Aaron is checking the back of Escape there, finds some more money, but that's about it for right now there. But inside the Ice Rod Cave, currently we are going to find momentarily the Boomerang! Yay for boomerangs.
It could stun enemies. Like, again, you could find worse, I guess.
I don't believe the prize pack has been randomized, or stun prize pack has been randomized for the enemies there, unless I am remembering wrong.
I want to say the prize pack is still there. It's the same enemies that would normally, give you the prize pack if you can stun them. It's just we haven't seen too many of those yet.
That is true there, and Aaron is making a play for Death Mountain right now there, while DT is back into the Dark World there, see where he decides to go.
I think right now Aaron is just thinking, that Fire Rod sounds very good right about now. I think I'm going to go grab that.
Good point there. Is that a Dragonite or is that a Charizard? I can't really tell with the sprite.
It is a Dragonite for sure. That's what the website calls it, so.
I'll go with that then.
In other news of sprites, Aaron actually using his favorite sprite, the floor tile. He is very, very proud of that floor tile. So he always picks it for these randomizer seeds.
All right, old man just having a piece of heart, nothing there, but Aaron is now in Death Mountain and can check all that entails as well. Perhaps will try and make his way towards the Fire Rod and Paradox Cave if he can get over there. That might be a little bit of a trek to go around the long way, but he can definitely get there. But DT is heading over towards either Pod or Palace of Darkness, depending on if he decides to use the mirror or not. Neither are full completable without the boat just as of yet there, but they do have some chests.
Actually, Eastern... we still need the lamp for Eastern anyway, but Eastern Palace actually removes the bow requirement because the kill rooms in Randomizer have been fixed, so all kill rooms will have enemies that you can kill if you have basically the basics of bombs. So because of that, Eastern Palace is fully within logic, depending if we can beat the boss, and of course if we get that lantern, which we did find in Sashrala.
Aaron finds a hint that there is a unique item in Hookshot Cave there, so that is something to keep on your radar for once we get there.
Mm-hmm. And yet, as Plagued One in chat just pointed out, the lamp that DT did find does actually put what Aaron's doing within logic. He just hasn't picked up the lamp yet, which is easily accessible in Sphere 1 of the logic.
Pretty much, yeah. You can go to Sasha anytime that you want to, even if it is out of the way. But we are in logic as far as the seed is concerned, so we'll see. We got the key inside the first portion of House of Darkness, so we can continue onward.
And we have a bottle in plain sight. According to that hint, which basically means it's an item that you can generally see on the map and you can pick it up if you think it's worth it. At this point, since we don't have a bottle yet, if we do run into that, I'd say it is worth it. Just to check Sick Kid, but we'll have to see where that ends up. Could even be on the Death Mountain Island over here.
Ooh, rollers on Death Mountain with all those narrow passageways. That is not fun in the slightest.
And it did happen to be the bottle there, too, so that's funny.
Spiral Cave here at the moment. Making his way grabs the pot off of the pot rock or pot crate.
But yeah, I see what Aaron's doing here. He's going over here to get the fire rod first, and then probably going to go back to Tower of Hera once he gets the fire rod, because then the items in Hera are within logic, since he has the fire source for the basement.
Well, in logic, he would have access to the lamp already. So, but either way, the fire rod is definitely more convenient for his location at the moment.
Yeah, and right now that's what he's thinking, because he obviously doesn't have the lamp, so he'd need the fire rod to get that. So he knows where that is, so he's going to go for that.
Ooh, and there are Lionels inside of Palace of Darkness, but thankfully with all these corners, they should be fairly easy to dodge. And game, did you really just put a spike trap on this narrow ledge? You did.
Well, at least we have Burna to get through it, so it's not too bad, I guess.
And another one on the collapsing bridge there. This game does not want us to cross this bridge.
So we already got the fire rod from Aaron's side. Their ice rod's also in Paradox Cave, so we can now beat that Trinex in Thieves Town. And we get a blue mail upgrade as well.
Very nice. Paradox Cave indeed. That's 3 important items right there.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, DT taken a death inside the Palace of Darkness. Gonna opt to, I guess, go to Eastern first, because I guess it's, I don't really want to call it easier, because again, that depends on Randomizer and how mean it is to you. But, you know, very quick dungeon to kind of get through.
It is a little bit shorter, so it has that going for it there. And he's cleared out a lot of Palace of Darkness right now, so it really comes down to, do you want to gamble on those last few chests being important or not?
We'll have to see as Aaron enters the Tower of Hera to officially go to the basement to get through the Firelock section.
Right there, gonna look quite at home in this tile room there. Please don't attack me. I am a common floor tile just like you. Watch me chase this Link around. How dare you be in my room here?
Honestly, I can't even tell which floor tile is Aaron at this point. I've lost track.
Yes. Oh, we're getting randomized tile patterns as well. That's always nice. This one being the
Looks
square.
like we have a square. Yeah, we have a square, or... Oh, there's more to it.
Number 2 dice block.
Actually, I think that was a floor tile. I think that was literally a floor tile.
Floor tile pattern. All right, so the boss key was locked behind that tile room there, so that was required to go up further up the tower, or at least get no. I'm crazy. Ignore me.
Yeah, we did need to get through there to get the big key, so we could advance further. DT did pick up a hint that said a heart container is behind the hammer. I guess it's good information if you still need health by that point, and if you find some hammer lock locations, but nothing progressive we need.
Nothing that you would actually need to go actively search out, yes.
Right.
Alright, looks like we're gonna get another hint here soon from this tile there.
Ooh, okay, so we have another sword behind the big red bomb in the Pyramid Fairy.
Depending on where the other swords are, that may become relevant or not, but we'll have to see.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. Tower of Hera and Eastern Palace are the 5-6 crystals, and both of our runners could theoretically complete them depending on what the bosses are, so that could very well be our first sword.
Depending on what boss is up here at the top of Hera, because this is a rather small arena as far as arenas go.
That is Mafula, I believe.
He does have the fire out, so this should be easy. And there's Mothra area becomes a lot easier when you don't have the when you have the hammer to strike him with, no conveyor belt or spikes to run into. Just his random blasts, and yeah, he goes down like a chump.
Yeah, Mafula is so dependent on that conveyor belt and spikes. But thankfully, Aaron was able to take him out no problem. That is his first dungeon completed. And looks like DT is going to be making his way to his first dungeon completion too. Again, assuming he can actually do it, because it could be a Trinex and he has neither of the rods at this point.
All right, so inside there, right, we've got another room to clear out before we can get there. This one having a bunch of not Igors. What are these called?
Hinoxes.
You think I'd have played enough Breath of the Wild to remember that, but no.
It's fun. Does have to be careful though, because these guys do a lot of damage, and you know, DT's not exactly full health right now, so looks like he does make it, and our boss for Eastern Palace is going to be blind. It is doable, kind of low health right now, and we have a little bit of Burna if we need to use it, but we're going to have to see how he does with this one.
One of the things is that because you don't, the boss starts right away there, you can't get that that strat that everyone's familiar with just starting and doing the scripted routine of him. He just starts right away, and you have to go off script, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Oh!
One hit left.
Really, really close. Good effort. Very good effort.
Oh, it's going to dip out. Unfortunate.
He is going to go back in the pod, though, and try to clean up what he was not able to get before, though.
Might as well, yeah. Just bounce back and forth between pod and Palace of Darkness until you can get what you came for.
You mean Eastern Palace?
Yes, you're correct. That's the second time I've done that. What
It's okay.
Speaking of there, looks like Aaron is heading towards Palace of Darkness right now there. Let's see what parts he ends up going through as well.
Okay, DT has round 2 of the Dark Passage down here. Ooh, the flute.
That is going to be helpful there. Not only unlocking Misery Mire there, but makes travel so much easier.
Yeah, still can't quite get in the mire. We don't have the mitts to get the rock lifted, nor do we have a sword to activate medallions, but still, it is good because we will have to complete mire in this all dungeon seat at some point.
You are correct there. So, I mean, we could travel and go and check the Mire Shed there, and also the Checkerboard Cave there, but that's about it. We would prefer to have the other stuff on hand while we're there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, does get some more health too. That's always nice to see. And there is the mitts.
Speak of the devil, just as we were talking about them.
That's right, and that's gonna be a sword upgrade in DT's future because he can get to Super Bunny Cave now with those mitts and Death Mountain access.
You are correct. Yeah, being able to go to Eastern Dark Death Mountain the long way doesn't have to have the hookshot right now.
Yep, he is going to be activating that flute immediately. I imagine that's exactly what he can do. And as you mentioned earlier, he can also go to the Mire and Desert area and clean up there as well. So he does have some more options. As Aaron going to be making his trip through Eastern.
Yeah, with the flute and with the mirror there, you can get into Desert Palace the back way if you so desire. That opens up another dungeon for him to complete. And since they're all required, if you feel that the seed is leading you in that direction, why not give it a peek?
Mm-hmm. The boots are still an unknown for that because it could be blocking further access to the boss, but we'll have to see.
Alright, looks like DT's heading back into the Dark World right now there. Perhaps taking... Has not picked up the stuff from Death Mountain yet, but he may be heading in that direction at the moment. Not sure where he's... Oh, I bet he is going towards the Smiths right now, or maybe I'm just crazy.
Ooh.
Who knows?
And I think that's probably what he's thinking at this point. Yeah, he's going south. He's gotten everything else down here. So, no, I do not think you're crazy.
Meanwhile, Aaron is playing yakety sax with all those guards inside of Eastern Palace. They are being quite rude, and he gets a health refill at just the right moment.
Yeah, thankfully there was a fairy there. Ooh, a Beamos while you're doing hammer pegs.
I don't think they block line of sight, do they? Oh, yes, they do block line of sight. Okay, that is convenient.
Okay. The funniest enemy formation I've seen with hammer pegs is there's a possibility for like the rolling pins to appear there. And I once had a case where there were 3 rolling pins all going in different directions across the hammer peg, so I had to keep like moving in and then moving out to avoid taking damage. It was insane.
Welcome to the hammer peg maze of death.
Exactly. We'll see what the blacksmith is holding for us today. Just the bug catching net. I mean, once we get a bottle, that's a way to get some fairies, which would be helpful in Randomizer, so can't say that's a bad find.
Yeah, you are correct there. Like, having extra safeties is never bad there. Oh, and Aaron is going through this room that is so many shadows and Hinoxes. But he has plenty of pots to educate the Hinoxes. That pot is bad for you.
Another thing Aaron does have is he does have a lot more health and full magic going into this blind fight, so going to be a bit more equipped, better equipped than what DT was, and should be able to take him out no problem.
Manages to get the high ground against him there. Gets through the first phase there. and we will see where how the rest goes there. Meanwhile, DT has gone to Meyer and is going to be checking out that area, going to check out that medallion requirement. That was too fast. I didn't see it in time.
That was Bombos, so we are covered with that one for right now.
Just need a way to get over that gap there, and the Cane of Samaria to actually complete the dungeon itself, among other things.
Yeah, we still need a sword to even open up the dungeon with the medallion activation. Aaron does take out Blind, does get a bottle, so we can actually check Sick Kid in the very near future. And that's actually his Pyramid Fairy access, so he can get a sword if he wants to.
Was Aaron the one who checked that hint there, or was that DT? I've lost track of who checked which ones.
Actually, I think DT was the one that checked it, but I think that Aaron will be getting that hint shortly anyway. Because I think I want to. Wait, no, it wasn't in here. I think Aaron does have that information, actually. Because I believe
that is a spike trap underneath the sand. That is interesting.
Okay, so Green Pendant's not going to have anything. It was just some cash. Okay, but no, Aaron does have that information, because I believe the tile in here was a joke hint, so...
You are correct there. I'm sorry. These orange enemies always abuse me for no good reason.
Yeah. Oh!
We've got the bow. We have sharp, pointy objects to throw at people now.
And that's actually Palace of Darkness boss in logic, or at least getting to him is in logic. I think I want to say there's only one boss we can't fight right now, and that boss is Argus. Well, I guess DT couldn't fight Trinex because he doesn't have Fire Rod or Ice Rod yet, but at least for Aaron anyway, just needs to find that hook shot to basically be in Bosco mode anyway.
Essentially, yes. Nothing in the checkerboard cave there. So as soon as he decides to make it, take a trip up towards Death Mountain, that it will be those items in them, or in his possession.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what has Gina been hoarding from us today? Just a heart piece. I think that's vanilla.
I believe you are right. Alright, looks like Aaron is continuing on through Palace of Darkness there. And DT is going to be using Fly to head to his first trek up Death Mountain, or up across this mountain.
Yeah, he'll be able to get all the wonderful items that Aaron's found up here, and we'll be able to check out some new ones too, because he does have the Dark World access to Death Mountain as well, so we'll be able to make a little more from this trip than what Aaron was, but, you know, Aaron's making some dungeon progress. He's got 2 dungeons done, and he's working on a 3rd one, so definitely doing a great job just kind of focusing on these dungeons and getting stuff cleared.
Yeah, DT's explored a bit more there, but hasn't been able to tank down a single boss yet, with that unfortunate death to Blind in, I believe it was the Eastern Palace dungeon.
Yes, that is correct.
And hasn't really taken much of a peek into Hera except that one time.
Although I guess Aaron does not have the bow, so he can't fight the boss here yet, but, you know, once he gets that bow, it'll be a quick return to finish it up.
Remind me, like, what did we see was the boss inside of the... Oh, wait, no, you're right. Is the statue part of the Randomizer pool that you shoot to open the wall?
That's still there, so yes, you do need the bow to get through Palace of Darkness.
is only one of the few bowlock sections. As you had mentioned, the kill room requirements may or may not actually require anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically just to kind of make InthenameofDT, I don't want to say, again, easier, but to make it more fair, to prevent, like, soft locks and wider item distribution. They made it so the kill rooms could be basically completed if you're just working with, like, your base just bombs item pool. So you don't get, like, stuck and, like, you can't progress because an item was placed beyond a unwinnable kill room.
Yeah, you can't have any rolling pins or anything like that inside of them either.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so DT is in Tower of Hera now. Now that he has the lamp, he can pick up that big key and head up the rest of the tower. Ooh, and Aaron takes a death. Didn't see if that was an intentional death warp or not.
I don't think it was. Looks like he was trying to avoid an enemy, but the enemy couldn't just get out of the way, so coming back in to get what he missed.
Thankfully, Palace of Darkness just sprawls out a lot there, so it's not that long of a trek to wherever it is that you're going, but it's still annoying nonetheless.
Oh, for sure.
And of note there, Aaron does not have the Cane of Burna, so has to take force damage to get past these very rude spikes that decide to hog the entire bridge.
Yeah, he does have the cape, but I think he's trying to think of, well, let me use the cape in here if I really need it. Okay, does get the heart, so is able to get a little bit of health back and make it through. Man, these bomb enemies are being really, really annoying.
They are definitely relentless.
Does get his Titans, though, so that's the one thing that he really needed to get from here before progressing, and that's going to allow him to have some other options here.
So aside from the Cane of Burna there, all DT has that Aaron does not is the bow. A very important item, but he should be getting that relatively quickly.
If he does go to Desert, because, you know, there will be some options that he could make. He could go back up to Death Mountain. So we'll have to see what he does. He can also go back and have that fight with Trinix if he wants to.
Yeah, you are correct there. And you don't really realize how many enemies are in Tower of Hera until they get replaced by guards instead of just those normal just cannon fodder that you're used to just mowing through easily.
Yeah, definitely. On DT's screen, he tries to pick up a pot, accidentally picks up the Hennix's bomb, so he has to throw that away before he can pick up the pot.
You can't blow me up, I'll blow myself up! That's an interesting the Rhinos can't shoot over gaps.
Mm-hmm. I guess I can understand it. They kind of want to have, like, the loading zone, I guess, of the pits. Since all these pits are ones you can fall down into, like, that might be blocking its path or something.
Quite possibly, yes. And Bulldog's Arena is not so annoying if you don't have anything that can knock you into the pits there. So, easy boss,
Yeah.
just as Aaron has discovered earlier. And that is DT on the board with his first boss takedown.
And I'm wondering if he could even be considering possibly going back for maybe that rematch against Blind, but we'll have to see. He can also go to the boss of Palace of Darkness too, but I imagine he's going to want to get Death Mountain stuff first and check out the dark side.
Sick kid is rich kid, but nothing much else there, so no interesting things off the bottle turn-ins there. That, on DT's side, that little fire orb that does not know where to go, having no walls to cling to. towards the what am I trying to say? Towards the Turtle Rock dungeon right now. We will see what the requirement is, if nothing else.
Bombos again.
See, it just likes making things explode.
So with this, unfortunately, he can't get anything in Hookshot Cave, but he is going to be grabbing that bottle because he does have the mirror, so he's going to get that, and then he'll also get his first sword, because as we know, there is a sword in Super Bunny.
You are correct, and we'll be getting whatever it is on the floating island as well.
I believe it's a bottle with a fairy. And yep, Aaron is going in for the fight against Trinex.
You need to do it. You've got the tools. You're here. Why not? Good decision.
It is Hammer Trinex, though. That's the one thing.
That is going to be interesting, to say the least. And in DT screen, we are armed, we are dangerous, we now have a sharp pointy object. Please don't poke out your eye with that.
Okay, so let's see how this Trinex fight's gonna go.
Manages to take down the first head just fine there, is setting the ice head on fire. Oh, but Trinex does hit like a truck. So you definitely have to be careful, otherwise you're going to have to trek all the way through that laggy room of potential death.
He does have a blue potion, though, so even if he runs out of magic, he's still covered.
Looks like he's electing to use that as he is now out of magic there, but how many more hammer hits is it going to take before he takes him down? There shouldn't be too many more. There it goes.
It. Very nicely done. That can be really, really difficult to do, especially if you don't have a sword, so nicely done. And Aaron just needs to take out the second phase now, and he'll be done with another dungeon.
The hammer is always such short range there, but it's always impressive to see people take it out Trinex with minimal resources like this. But good job to Aaron, and that is his third boss taken down there.
And his third crystal as well, so getting even closer to Ganon's tower.
Yeah, Ganon's tower is a dungeon just like any other. It is not the final area of the game, not necessarily. As you mentioned earlier, interesting things can be locked behind them. Both players now have the cape there. Don't remember what we saw on Bumper Ledge just as of yet. I don't recall it being anything terribly interesting, or we may not have checked it at all. I do not recall off the top of my head.
Bumper Ledge, from what I remember, was a just 10 arrows, so not anything relevant.
All right, so DT is heading back into the Eastern Palace of Darkness area. Going to be finishing that up there and watching those mire worms jump in and out of the dirt.
And Aaron, he is going to get his first sword by taking the red bomb to the pyramid. Long Run Gaming, Aaron never had a sword yet. He's getting his first one, and he has to get his second one on Dark Death Mountain because he did not have access to that area before.
All right, so DT is back inside of Palace of Darkness. Palace of Darkness 2, Electric Boogaloo. now with the bow, he'll be able to at least get to the boss and see what it is. Has the ice rod there, but has not found the fire rod yet, unless I was not looking in the right direction.
We'll see in a minute when he opens his menu. I think he did, because I believe the blue mail was also in the fire rod room. Yeah, he has it. He's fine there.
Oh, very good. Aaron is in the front of escape there. I thought that he had cleared all that out there. No, he's going to Zelda's cell. He hasn't checked that yet. Just an interesting one off to choose. But, or no, there's two in... There's also the chest inside the sewers as well, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen that yet, because I don't think DT had the lamp at that point, and it's really dangerous to go in there without the lamp, and you don't know what the enemies are.
DT makes a nice use of the Bombos Medallion to clear out that room of shadows. And heading up the final stretch towards the boss of House of Darkness, which in this case turns out to be Vitreous. No silver arrows, but still has bow. So there's some making somewhat interesting there. Vitreous is noticeably easier due to the lack of damaging goop that's on the floor in this arena.
He's also very, very orange today.
He is allergy. He's being irritated by all the dust that's in the air here.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like, Misery Mire is probably more of a damp dungeon, while this one's kind of like dark and dusty. So that actually does make sense.
Please don't fight me. I just need some Visine.
Ooh, does need to be careful. I think he does have that fairy still, so if he does take a death, it won't be too bad. That should be it. Just needs to fire 8 arrows, and Vitreous should go down. Ooh.
Oh, does he have that fairy? Yes,
yeah,
he does.
He does. I think I know what happened. I think one of the arrows hit the spikes in the background, so because of that, it's going to need to, yeah, get one more hit in there.
And he gets an arrow refund out of the whole deal.
Hey, that's not too bad, honestly. But yeah, it does get a crystal out of this, so that is 2 dungeons done for DT.
So that puts the dungeon score at 3-2 there. Aaron is in the lead of dungeons and has pretty much the same items as DT at the moment, for as far as I can tell, except for the bow, which... so that is one dungeon that DT has cleared that Aaron is not able to right now.
Yeah, that's really the big difference right now. Aaron does have a little more progress, but that bow, like, DT is making some forward progress with that. We are kind of getting to that point, though, where you're going to have to start going to some new locations. And from what I can tell, Ice Palace is actually an option at this point. We can go in there and get a few things done, and with the sequence breaks our runners more than likely know how to do, we can actually get through the whole dungeon. And there's also the first few rooms in the swamp, if we want to check those out.
All that we really need at this point there is the hook shot there and the cane of Samaria there, and possibly the boots if we're feeling generous as well.
Well, we do need the boots because Desert Torch has the big key, I believe, so that will be a requirement we need.
That are out there in the ether somewhere. Don't know where they are. Need to go find them. And of course, silver arrows are always a luxury that you would love to have there, but silverless strats are not anything these guys haven't heard of before.
Well, Aaron does seem to be in the area of where the bow's located, so he should be able to pick that up if he goes in the desert. So he'll have that kind of regained on DT.
DT decides to use the Bombos Medallion against all those Hinoxes. Hey, you guys like bombs? I'll show you some bombs.
That's why I really love the medallions and Randomizer, because sometimes if there's a really nasty enemy layout, you can just use your medallions if you have the access to them and just get rid of them without even having to deal with it. So, really good find to find early in Randomizer.
Screen nuke, you all die. Thank you, good night.
Yep. And with blind down, that is 3 dungeons done. Our runners are tied up again.
DT does have the fire and ice rod there, so he can knock out the remainder of Thieves Town as well.
That is true. And he still has to check the stuff in the back of Thieves Town, so that could also be a priority for him. Looks like he is... wondering if this is going to be the swamp play.
I was just wondering that myself there, heading in that direction. Okay, I have to digress a small part. I keep seeing that droplet in the middle of the field, and I know that's supposed to spawn enemies there, but just the way the Randomizer works, it doesn't. And I just find that amusing there. I was like, hey, this droplet that's supposed to spawn this bouncy thing. Nope, it doesn't do anything at all. It's just there.
Oh, and okay, DT's probably going to get that sword first. That might be a bit more of what he's thinking right now.
If you wanted to go to Aga 1 right now, you could just go through with the cape there, but where's the fun in that? More power is more power. Rah, 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 rah.
I mean, at this point, like, since we know there's nothing in Lumberjack that's worth our attention, and we already have Dark World access, our runners might just save Aga Tower for the last dungeon, even after Ganon's Tower, because it's right there on the pyramid if you mirror.
It is a nice mirror warp away, just like how Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace are right next to each other, interdimensionally, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. Question in chat, why hasn't DT done Thieves Town yet? Because when he first went there, he was met by a very dangerous Trinex and did not have the means to beat him yet, and just has not been in the area yet since he's gotten the fire and ice rod.
And it looks like that's the next thing to do on his agenda, heading straight back into the Dark World there. Going to be taking down the annoying turtle there.
Yeah, I imagine so, because he's done pretty much everything else in this area. And he may actually opt to go up and see what the back of Skull Woods is hiding after this, too, so we'll have to see. But first... Sick Kid. Oh, another question. Why did he open one chest in Fat Fairy? He knew the other chest was going to be money because of a hint he found earlier. So once he got the sword, he knew that's all he needed.
And now that he has the Master Sword, getting through these crowds of enemies will be a little bit easier, at the very least there. Meanwhile, Aaron is going back to Palace of Darkness, looks like. He has the ability to finish that out now. No, he doesn't. Still doesn't have the bow. Or did he pick it up when I wasn't looking?
He did pick it up.
Oh, well, there we go then. Happy Halloween, guys. I painted my shell just for you.
I know we were having some problems with the tracker getting locked up earlier, so, you know, there might be a few things missing, but we'll get that filled in as soon as possible.
No problems there. Alright, DT is taking takes a hit from the Trinex main head there, but it's taking down the main two side heads there, and will be going on the last lap on the snake head.
Yeah, and unlike Aaron, he actually has Master Swords, so this is definitely a much easier and more efficient fight because he has, and I don't think he has that fair anymore either. No, he does not.
Oh, he does not. Back to the start with youths. I'm sorry.
I want to say the Trinex pattern threw him off because the Thieves Town room is a lot smaller than the Turtle Rock boss room, so it almost looked like Trinex went in a very weird pattern as he was going around the room, so it kind of threw him off guard, I think.
Alright, well, we should have round 2 pretty much very quickly there. You don't have to go through the rest of Thieves Town to be able to take on Trinex, but we're going to do it anyway because there's unexplored goodies for DT in here.
Yeah, and he doesn't exactly have enough magic to really combat Trinex right now, so going to be holding off on that for the moment.
Meanwhile, Aaron is taking out the enemy room in the Palace of Darkness one by one.
And he'll be fighting up against Orange Vitreous very, very soon. Looks like he does have some potion too, so if he gets close to taking a death, he can use that.
Electing to go for bomb strats against the mini eyeballs at the moment there. Good AoE damage for that.
Yeah, I think he also wants to kind of save his arrows a little bit too, so definitely an understandable play. It works pretty well.
Hey, stop getting smoke in my eyes. They're already red, can't you see?
I see someone in chat say Sunny D Vitreous. I like that. Ooh, and I don't think he has the fairy, so unfortunately he's going to have to go back to the beginning now too.
Chaos bosses do make things very notably hard. And it's not the shortest of treks back to him either there. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. But a second try, and he's going to have to restock on bombs if he's able to as well, if he wants to use the same strategy. Meanwhile, DT versus Trinex, round 2, fight.
So far, so good on the Firehead. Oh, well, it was a good position until Trinex moved.
Manages to dodge that shot. Very good.
Yeah, very, very good. Ooh, down to 1 heart again.
And he out of magic.
Oh, yeah, he didn't have a magic step, so he had to, unfortunately, opt out of that.
He's still keen on taking down Trinex, so he's gonna have to flute over to the witch and go pick up some medicine.
I think instead he's probably going to be going to Skull Woods to check out here, but also needs magic for the back. There is a magic pot in there, but may not want to deal with that room to get to it.
is making his round 2 against Vitreous very shortly. Only got a few more rooms to go.
And see, the interesting thing is about with both these bosses, like the way that our runners are thinking is that, you know, there could be an item behind here, but the reality is we've seen both bosses go down on the other stream, and we know that there's not going to be any progression there. So, you know, there are other things that they can do. They're just really determined to beat these bosses.
They'll need to take him down eventually, so I mean, tunneling in on them is not the worst thing in the world, but it will be annoying nonetheless.
Yeah, again, it's just a case where they don't know that there is no progression on these parts. Okay, it looks like he does have phase 2.
Alright, and Aaron takes down Vitreous there, gets his 10 arrows from them, and more importantly, another boss marked off on the checklist.
Yeah, that is number 4 for Aaron, so he does kind of take the lead. That, you know, DT kind of wrestled back with the bow find, but now Aaron is going to be looking for something else to do, so we're probably going to be seeing some new stuff coming up here soon. Yes, Sports. Aaron did actually do the Trinex fight with Hammer, so... Okay, looks like DT does make it to phase 2 as well, so hopefully the Trinex movements don't slip him up in this very small room.
Looks like he's got the pattern down this time there. Man, it was just the dodging just fine. Ooh, takes another hit. May have to use those potions if he takes another hit, but should not be... Oh, there we go. Trinex goes down. That's another... We are all tied up in terms of boss kills. Meanwhile, Aaron is going into Skullwoods, going to be taking on whatever lies within there.
The one boss I do not hope to find in this dungeon, and that especially be the case for these runners right now, would be Argus. 1, because they don't have hookshot, and 2, even if they did have hookshots, it's a very small room with conveyor belts, which is just a really annoying boss to fight in here.
Do the spikes still move into the arena, no matter with Mothula not there?
I don't think they do. It may vary from boss to boss. Like, it's weird. Whenever it seems like there's other bosses on Mothula's floor, it does kind of trip out the arena. Not all of the effects work, and it may depend on which boss is there.
There was this one time I saw a Moldorm inside of Mothula's arena and had no clue what to do, and it was just pinned up against the side of the wall, just taking spike damage over and over, and not being able to move at all.
Yeah, Moldorm just gets confused completely by the conveyor belt, so he's pretty free if you get him in this boss room. But we will find out what exactly we have here in just a second. Oh, how boring.
Vanilla Mothula, really? Alright, well that's fine. Let's go burn the moth. That said, Mothula is still difficult with this moving tiles there and the moving spikes. But with the Fire Rod, should be able to take him down, and with a good amount of health and armor, should be able to take him down, no problem here. Although those spikes do ignore armor, do a flat amount of health no matter what type of mail that you have.
It does get him down without having to use that potion, so That's another boss down from Aaron, but DT is in the same battle right now, so
They
both
are
are
right
runners
on each other's heels.
Yes, they are. One difference right now is DT does have the sword advantage at the moment because he was able to get the other sword in Super Bunny Cave, and Aaron has not been back up there yet.
You are correct there. Now, with all the easy quote-unquote dungeons out of the way here, we still don't have the boots to complete Desert Palace yet there, so looks like the only play we can make now is either Ice Palace or possibly Swamp.
Heck, we can even get into Misery Mire right now. Oh wait, no, we can't. No, you're right. Never mind. No hookshot or boots. Yeah, Swamp Palace or Ice Palace seem to be the play here, so we'll have to see what they choose.
Sprite is a Dratini. That's adorable. I love it.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So, if you had to choose between the two dungeons, where would you pick, personally?
Well, at this point, and again, this largely depends on the fact that I do kind of know, like, some of the bomb jumps for Ice Palace. I'd probably go for that because there is a potential that I could actually complete that over Swamp. That would be my thought process anyway.
Yeah, the Swamp generally has a bit more items in it there, but if Ice Palace is potentially fully completable, we'll have to. It would be the nicer play if you could pull it off.
I guess kind of like from a racing standpoint, I would almost consider probably going to Ice Palace first anyway, because not many people like going to Ice Palace. So, you know, if there's something valuable there, that could be a valuable edge I gain on my opponent.
True, true. It is long, it is tedious, and I don't know anybody who likes ice physics, so yeah, I totally get you there. But it looks like they're opting to check some one-offs while they're in the area there. Gonna be checking out the Graveyard Ledge, which in this case will have something we can't see yet. It's behind this bomb wall.
Just a piece of heart, unfortunately. And I think DT's actually going to pick up the Quake medallion now, since he has not seen what's in the dark room yet.
I believe you are correct there. It's a bit of a one-off there, but it's definitely worth checking, even though we know that we're not going to need it.
Mm-hmm. I imagine the play for Aaron right now, probably going to consider the blacksmith and purple chest stuff, and that would actually put him adjacent to Swamp, so I could see him maybe checking that next as far as dungeons.
That is entirely possible there. Yep, DT is still inside the sewers at the moment. Got some... Yep, there's the Quake medallion. And he decides to jet out of there because there's nothing more to see here. Goodbye, sir. Aaron is returning the Smith Frogs. Frog Smiths. The Smith Frogs. Make them into frog-shaped things. Really?
And yep, looks like DT is going to Ice Palace.
Yeah, I would agree that seems to be the better play of the two at the present moment there. So, into the obligatory ice-themed dungeon we go.
We also get some hints here, too, so that could also be very valuable. Unfortunately, getting the hint for the Graveyard Ledge, which he just checked a minute ago.
Thanks, game. You did that on purpose, didn't you? No. Definitely did not. Alright. So Aaron has picked up his purple chest, gonna probably be turning that in, and we'll see where he decides to go next.
Ooh, and we find the hookshot in Ice Palace.
That's gonna blow the whole seed wide open, possibly.
I definitely say so. We can complete Swamp now. We know there's a unique item in Hookshot Cave that could very well be something. And, you know, we're still obviously looking for Boots and Samaria for the other dungeons. But, yeah, that's something we can work with at this point. And obviously Ice Palace, it makes kind of routing Ice Palace a bit easier, too.
Right, so we finish Ice... Oh, a unique item is... I missed that one. What did it say?
Hookshot Cave, which we technically already knew from another hint.
Yeah, hints can duplicate themselves. I always tend to forget about that, but yes. So we finish Ice Palace, we go to Hookshot Cave, get what is whatever in there. Then from there, we can go into either Swamp or Misery Mire. Well, Swamp first, then Misery Mire if we happen to find Samaria along the way. And whenever we find Boots, go to Desert and finish the rest up as needed.
Yeah, there are definitely like a couple of different routes we could go from here. Definitely the unique item in Hookshot Cave could be something, but you know, there's also a couple of items that won't necessarily lead to progress too. So, you know, they could go check that item. They could go to Swamp because it's available and it does have a lot of items. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of move from here. Aaron hasn't been to Ice Rod Cave yet, but I think he's also going to showcase the Dark World Shopping Mall tile hints, which I don't think we've seen very much in these tourney races.
Can't say that we have seen it all that much myself.
Oh.
Okay, what are those enemies there? They appear to be on fire.
I don't know, but they're gone now. DT also picked up another hint in here that, you know, didn't point to any item progression, but it's a hint I do like. It actually told us what was in Mimic Cave. Nothing important, but that means we don't have to check Mimic Cave when we get there, so that's a item we can skip and not worry about it.
That is one less detour you have to take, so so much the better.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is where Aaron's going to be making the play into Swamp.
Interesting choice there. Opts to try to go for the bigger item density in Swamp, even though you cannot finish it without the hookshot just yet.
It would be nice if he finds something there, but, you know, because DT has that hook shot and it will be, like, you know, the ideal place to go, I can't imagine, you know, if Aaron does find something, DT will probably get that shortly after anyway, so, you know, it's... Ice Palace, I'd say, would definitely the play in this case just because of that, but he had no way of knowing that, so you can't really blame him too much.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to gamble, but sometimes it just bites you in the butt as well.
Yeah, for sure.
DT misses the bomb jump, but it puts him right at the ice big chest there, which doesn't have anything in it there, but nonetheless, he can move forward.
Yeah, the reason why DT was going for that bomb jump right there is it would have been a faster path to the Ice Tea Room chest because of the way this dungeon's kind of worked out for him and because he did the bomb jump. Because he fell, he has to kind of go around this loop and then around this loop again to get the item that's in the iced tea room. So, you know, little unfortunate he didn't get that jump, but hey, it's what it is. And were those just silvers we found in Swamp Palace? I think it was.
Oh, very nice indeed. They're not a required item there, but saves so much time if you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and DT finds the cane of Samaria in Ice Palace as well. Ice Palace is loaded today.
Yes, it is. So, yeah, that's even more stuff we can clear now. At this point, Boots is really the only item I think DT's going to be focused on trying to find.
Yes, with that, as soon as he finds Boots, he's pretty much in go mode as far as I can see. And he could go mode other things as well there, but that risk of not finding Boots is just too large to ignore right now.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely do not want to risk skipping stuff. And I know DT's playstyle. He does not want to skip things if he has something available. So he's going to be definitely searching dungeons until he finds that last item.
Oh, I was afraid there that the magic bubble stole enough of the magic to not be able to bomb boss or fire rod. But I think he might have a potion. He still has a blue potion. Very good. But that's
and we have
Coldstare was not even here.
Yeah, and we have Lamnolus. Very easy boss, even with Master Sword. If you don't have magic, you can just use your sword, and it doesn't take terribly long.
Yeah, pretty much there. We have Lamnolus on ice. Well, not literally on ice, but.
And also at this point, just looking at the pendant and crystal layouts, we're not going to have a case where you need to go to GT to find a required item or get something beyond that. Because Desert is a crystal, we're going to be able to find the boots before we get to Ganon's Tower, since, well, we need those crystals to get in there, so shouldn't be too far out of the logic right now.
No Ganon Tower double dips for us there. Perhaps a little bit less entertainment, but much more sanity for our runners.
Oh, for sure. And yep, he is going straight to Swamp, it looks like.
With the Cane of Samaria and the... excuse me. And the hook shot. He can do whichever dungeon he wants to, as long as it's not Desert Palace.
Mm-hmm. If I had to guess what kind of DT's thinking right now, like he's going to do this stuff, because Boots is the one item he needs. That is considered a unique item. It could be in Hookshot Cave, but, you know, Hookshot Cave could also have the mushroom, powder, book, or shovel. And it's, as far as he knows, silvers, but he'll find them in here. So because of that, he's going to just see if he can find the boots then. Then when he goes up to Turtle Rock, he can check that, and then he'll be fine at that point.
Ideally, if he can find those boots there, he'll want to leave Turtle Rock for last, so he can just do the Turtle Rock to Ganon's Tower short jaunt.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I guess it could be the single arrow. I do not remember if we've seen that yet. So yeah, it could be the single arrow as well.
Left so hard if that was the case, but we'll have to see what it is. Odds are against it. We have to do Aga 1 before we beat everything as well, but as what you had pointed out earlier, routing that in right after Ganon's Tower makes things a bit of a breeze.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so yeah, Aaron did make the right play. He is going to be checking out Ice Palace now, so he'll get his hook shot, he'll get his Cane of Samaria, and, you know, he is a dungeon behind DT right now, but, you know, it's not a difference he can't make up, because there's still he could go straight to Hookshot Cave after this, and DT might still look at other dungeons, and Aaron could be potentially in go mode before DT. We'll have to see.
Now there is still the possibility that that the boots could be in some weird one-off location. It could even be on the pedestal if the game is so inclined.
That's true. Yeah, we have not. We don't have a book, so we do not know what's on that pedestal yet. Also, wow, 3 BMOS in this room. How did I not see that earlier?
Thankfully, less things to kill, but more things to dodge.
Although I think in another Randomizer race that I called for this tournament, there was 5 BMOs in that room, so that was probably a bit more exciting than that, but still, a lot of BMOs. More than
lasers of death!
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, whenever I see those green star blobs there, I can't help but think that it looks like Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah, there was an earlier hint for Sasharala. It was nothing important, so don't need to worry about turning in Green Pendant.
Now we're coming up on, I believe, where Argus normally is, so we'll get to see what boss lies within there. Ooh, another heart container. Always 2 heart containers.
Hey, no complaints there, I imagine.
And then proceeds to lose both heart containers to those rooms.
It's fine, because he'll get another one right here. That never works, but hey, that's better anyway.
Hey, red mail's nothing to sneeze at either.
I don't think we got a Western Swamp hint. I think we know what's over there because Aaron checked it, but I don't know if we got that hint.
Well, it looks like we got Moldorm in a completely safe Moldorm room there.
And he also has 4 eyes.
I'm not entirely sure what's up with that. I was wondering if that was just like a random mutation or what. Ooh, he has the boss key on him. You kind of have to go back for that now. Otherwise, it's just going to taunt you.
I believe the Moldorm eye quirk is actually something that's been added recently to Randomizer, where Moldorm can have 1 to 8 eyes, just for fun.
Because why not? Mutant Moldorm, your new Halloween-themed Moldorm for all your Moldormy needs. I still do not know what those enemies are on Aaron's screen.
I think they're supposed to be like the normal, like, berry jellyfish enemies, because when DT hit one of them, it seemed like they kind of split up into multiple parts, so I think it's still the same enemies that are normally there, they just look weird for some reason.
Weird indeed. Okay.
Also, Wallmaster inside Swamp Palace.
Alright, and Aaron gets another chest there. I was not... Which... was it this chest that had Samaria in it? No. It just has 10 arrows. It was one of these. I forget which one it was in.
I want to say it's the one you normally hook shot onto. Or he may already have it. We'll see.
Oh, it's this one. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, yeah, it is this one. Or not. We were wrong.
We know it's in here somewhere. We just saw it. We're not crazy. We promise.
Oh no.
Does he have it? No, he does not.
No, he does not.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Right, it was Iced Tea Room, that's right.
Alright, well, meanwhile, DT has just finished up his swamp clear. Gonna be heading over to what I assume to be Misery Mire next.
No, actually going here. I think I understand why. Because this way, if he finds boots, he can do Desert Palace and Mire at the same time. So that makes sense.
That does make sense. You are correct there. And we know there's a guaranteed item of some sort there. We just do not know if it's trash or not.
Or it could even be a case where there's multiple unique items in Hookshot Cave. We literally have not seen anything in there yet, so...
We could have a fetch quest chain. Who knows?
That's true.
And, alright. DT's heading over into Dark Death Mountain via Turtle Rock. I don't think he's going to go in just yet, but he could surprise me.
He has to activate this too anyway, so...
Yep, heading over towards the Super Bunny Cave. Okay. And then if the boots are... sorry, Hookshot Cave. My mistake. And if the boots are there, so much the better. If not, pick a dungeon, go for it.
Okay, no unique item yet. Book.
We've got the Book of Medora there. We are now able to check the book.
There
and the
they
boots.
are.
We got 2 unique items. 2 for the price of 1,
okay.
Grandma, as a certain someone would say.
Okay, so that is official go mode for DT. You know, an extra sword would definitely be nice. Not gonna lie, but as far as dungeon progression, he is ready to go to the end, so I imagine that's exactly what he's gonna do.
We are in go mode, so we're going to Mire, we're going to warp to Desert, go directly to get the key into what normally is Land Molus. Then over to Turtle Rock there, and then we are in the Ganon's Tower. And from there, we make a small side trip over to Aga 1, and then to the Big Pig himself.
Meanwhile, on Aaron's side, he is making it to where that Cane of Samaria is, so, you know, he's not terribly far behind, but with the kind of straight linear path DT has, DT definitely has the advantage, I think execution's going to be a big part for the rest of this. Randomizer can still throw in some very nasty punches, so we'll have to see how that progresses.
Yeah, with Chaos boss settings, we don't even know if we can't even use process of elimination to determine what bosses we have yet to face.
Yeah, that's right. We mentioned earlier you could find up to like 5 Trinexes, for example, and then there's some easy bosses like Armos that may not even appear at all, so that's just the nature of...
Mafulous.
That's true, yep.
Finds the boss early on there, and skip straight to the boss if he so desires, and why not?
Yeah, at this point, DT definitely thinking about the end. In his prior race today, he actually did Master Sword Silverless, and here he at least has the silvers, so gonna at least have a easier finale to this seed anyway.
Aaron one-shots the land moluses in Ice Palace there. Has the slightly easier fight. It's the fight there. But is still a little bit behind, but he should, as soon as he goes to Hookshot Cave, will be right on DT's tail.
Ooh, it looks like he's actually thinking about Meyer here.
He can still complete Meyer at this point, but can't complete Desert, so it has a little bit of routing inefficiency there. Not the end of the world, but we're in races like this where things matter. Oh, we have another land molus. Interesting.
And again, I can see what he's thinking. Like, you know, there's always a possibility for, you know, that hookshot cave hint that he found earlier could end up being an item that he doesn't need. So, you know, could be knowing how his opponent is and how his opponent plays, could be tailoring his decisions here based on that.
The land molus inside of Vitreous's room do give the tempered sword, however. So that does give us a noticeable boost in power.
Yeah, definitely.
Onward and upward we go to the Desert Palace. This should be a short run, given that we know the location of all of our required keys here. And the mirror just makes it that much faster. So onward we go to the boss lead up. I still think that decal on the wall there is really nice.
Oh yeah, definitely. So at this point in this particular seed, the bosses we have not seen. We have not seen Argus. We have not seen Armos Knights. And I want to say... Oh, we haven't seen Cold Stare either, so... We have not seen those three bosses. There's a chance we may never see those bosses. But I always like to see all of them, just to still make it like, you know, like it's like you're still playing like the full game.
Aga still always appears in Aga 1, as well as Aga 2, of course.
Yeah, and you'll never have to worry about Ganon appearing in an arena that isn't his own either, so... Thankfully.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boss encounters left, aside from the required ones, such as Aga and Ganon.
And we may not even see one of them in Ganon's tower, depending on where the big key is, but we do have another Vitreous. And here's where not having the damaging goop actually helps.
Point blank, straight to the eyeball. This was a delightfully golden-colored Vitreous.
Mm-hmm. Unlike the orange one we saw earlier.
So we had Sunny D, a Vitreous, and what would this one be? Apple Juice Vitreous? I don't know.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll go with Apple Juice. Okay, so DT on his way to Turtle Rock now to get the final pendant he needs. Then, I imagine, off the Ganon's tower, then Aga Tower, and then the Ganon. So, again, just following this path forward to the end of the sea. Not letting any rolling pins get in his way.
How those rolling pins don't fall off that cliff, we will never know. You don't see enough topos. Is it topo or topos? The little bunnies that call you jerks.
I think it's topos. I don't know entirely for sure though.
Yeah, they disappear in vanilla after you take down Agile 1, and it's just you don't see them enough in outside of Randomizer, essentially.
It is nice to find them though, because they do give you a drop of some kind. So if it's early game and you're looking for bombs or rupees, you could get lucky and have one of those things given to you.
Alright, and one note is that Aaron is full clearing Meyer because he does not know where those boots are. That will cost him a little bit more time. Oh, another useless hint that tells you something that we've already found. If we could only have had them in a different order.
The funny thing is, though, like, that hint was at least in a place where if, like, you gambled Meyer early, then, like, you'd at least have that knowledge if you got there. So not totally bad, but in the context of the routing these guys took, then yeah, it was a bit unfortunate.
Very much, yes.
I think so far, and we've actually seen a lot of the hints, we've only had one kind of, when I say useless, I mean the green text hints that give you advice on Zelda 1 and not this game. So, you know, it's actually been pretty friendly in giving out information on this seed.
You are correct there. And sometimes Randomizer decides to be nice to you and give you 2 ropes where normally the chain chomps are, and then it decides to put a spike, a bunch of enemies right at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah. That's why I love Randomizer, though, because just you're not expecting what you end up seeing, and there's always like one room layout that you've never seen before. So it's always like kind of an entertaining experience, but also interesting in trying to figure out like how to get through certain rooms and the best way to defeat all the enemies in the rooms. You know, before you just bombos them all to death because you don't want to deal with them.
Pretty much. And thankfully, the key is always in the same location enemy there, even if that enemy is something different. So you track down that Gibdo, yoink to the key right off of him, and onward he goes. Meanwhile, Aaron is taking on the the Meyer Landmolai. Gets his Master Sword, hasn't still gotten the other sword from... which one has he not gotten yet? Has he not got the Pyramid Fairy? No, he got the Pyramid Fairy.
He has not gotten the Super Bunny one yet, because he has not been back to Death Mountain since his initial trip, so I imagine at this point he's gonna want to go there, but he still has Swamp too, so he might stop by there to finish that really quickly.
Yeah, might route in Super Bunny Cave along with the Hookshot Cave, but we will see where he decides to go next. And it looks like he's going back to Swamp.
And we found the 4th sword on DT's screen, you know, while he's still looking for small keys to finish this dungeon. So DT has all 4 sword upgrades. He has the silver arrows. He has red mail for defense. I think he's ready for this Ganon fight at some point.
What more could you possibly want? He is definitely on a 4-sword adventure right now.
I guess maybe half magic could be nice, but I don't think he'll need that either, honestly.
Unless we run into... Oh, that is a rude spike placement.
Oh, and look at his magic, too, so that's really unfortunate. Okay, does make it down just in time. One funny thing you can use to kind of get past like spike traps like that, if you actually bomb yourself, you can actually kind of bomb yourself past that, or use the iframes from a bomb explosion to kind of get through that.
Got the key that he needed there, so onward to Trinex's room he goes. A bit low in health, but I believe he still has that blue potion from earlier that he ended up not using.
And he will get a heart here. He also has red mail, so I imagine it's going to be a case where he's going to take a look at the boss and decide whether or not he needs to use that potion or not.
Something like Armos Knights, which it is, then he can just, well, arrow them all to death.
And he'll get to keep that potion too, because this is not a very hard fight.
Alright, onwards to Ganon's Tower, and then Aga 1, and then the end. This is, unless something very unusual happens here, this is his race to lose.
And don't have a lot of time for this, but since we do have a... oh, I think I pressed the wrong command anyway. Yeah, it's start. Gonna be a quick one, I guess. But yeah, there's 22 locations, Ganon Tower. Guessing which chest you think the big key's in. Guess away quickly. Gonna have to stop this immediately, though.
In chest number 1, we have a heart piece. In chest number 2, we have another heart piece.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to keep on going to find that big key. Got a small key on the torch.
That's item location number 3. Now, I never got a good look at those whack-a-mole sprites. I always thought that they were laughing at me. Are they actually got those stupid grins on their faces?
Yeah, probably. They're enemies. They want you to fail, so they probably do. Looks like Aaron finishes up his fight against 4-Eye Dorm, and still looking for the big key on DT's side, up to 7 now.
Chest number 8 only has some arrows and some spikes that gave him a little bit of trouble, but minor annoyances that.
And Aaron finally heading back up to Death Mountain. He's going to be entering Go mode very shortly. We'll hopefully also pick up the Tempered Sword as well while he's up there. But if not, there's also a sword in Turtle Rock too, so...
The difference between Tempered Sword and Gold Sword isn't all that much, but hey, if you can get it, why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Chest number 9 in Ganon's Tower, we had the powder.
Yeah, Ganon's Tower ends up being the lost and found of randomizer items.
Especially if we end up finding Shovel up here.
And 13 chests 10 through 13 are nothing interesting. We got a fire shield out of it, but I don't think we're going to be running into that many more fireballs.
There is that really annoying one in the Lamno 2 arena, so...
Yeah, you're alright.
Also, we will be seeing all the boss locations, assuming the big key is not here on this just next. Okay.
14 has a full heart container. We are now up to 16 hearts.
Aw, Vanilla again. Still looking for Cold Stare and Argus. Oh, and Helmasaur. We haven't seen Helmasaur either.
Oh, right, we have not seen Helmasaur. 16, 17, nothing much. But onward to the right side we go.
Aaron will be picking up his boots very shortly.
Not entirely sure what that Kinesamaria bounce was there, but that looked really cool, so I like it nonetheless. And there you have it.
Number 20 is going to be our big key today. Aaron does pick up that tempered sword, so you'll at least have a good sword going into the end game.
TT's running a little bit low on hearts there, but he does still have that potion and a safety room coming up.
And the gauntlet is another very, very vital section, especially when it comes to Randomizer. There's some rooms where you can get lucky with the enemy layouts, but you know they can always grab some of those other really nasty layouts as well. So, oh, unfortunately does take hits there, loses his iframes, so gonna have to start over, but thankfully he was not too far from the beginning, so.
Yeah, it was just right at the very bottom of the gauntlet there. Not much time lost at all.
Yeah, at this point, knowing his opponent, DT probably completely unsure of where Aaron is right now. Little does he know that, you know, DT does have a bit of a 2-dungeon lead at this point, but, you know, he plays and respects Aaron's playstyle, so has no idea where he could be right now. So even, I can imagine the nerves maybe kind of getting to him a little bit, but, you know, he does have that good buffer right now.
That is entirely possible there. Part of the difficulty isn't just that anxiety of knowing that that dot dun can come out at any moment, even though we as the casters, we know what's going on.
Yeah, and especially when you get 2 hours into a seed, so that's when you like really start examining, okay, there's no fun finish yet. Did I figure things out before my opponent, or is he just like right there with me? I have no idea right now.
For those of you like myself who are prone to the what-ifs there, it can be very nerve-wracking.
Looks like we get a bit of a Hyrule Castle escape set of enemies there. Also, yeah, DT using a bit of logic. Enemies like bats, you actually don't need to kill them in kill rooms because they don't act like they're enemies. It's the same way in Vanilla Aga Tower.
Why they're coded that way? Oh, here we've got Golden Helmasaur King.
Will we see Cold Stare or Argus on the Moldorm 2 arena, or will both of them be absent? Find out in about, I don't know, 2 or so minutes.
Alright, the mask goes off there. 1 or 2 arrows or swipes to the noggin, and Helmasaur King is down. For a second there, I had forgotten that the Wizrobes are not going to spawn there like normal, and was expecting the usual Cana Samaria swag strats. But the hookshot is pretty cool as well.
It definitely is. I mean, a weapon that can kill all the weaker enemies and stun some of the stronger ones. It's always good to have that hookshot. Ooh, okay, this could be a really...
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is gonna take some problems there. Well, that's close enough.
Yeah.
Phew, I was afraid that door was gonna close in his face, but no, plenty of time.
Okay, good. He did not get the despawn glitch, so he's good.
Was that mimic just in the wall?
Yes, it was. And hello, Vitreous number 3.
So I heard that you liked a four-eyed Moldorm there, so I just brought myself along, and now we're gonna have a three-eyed Vitreous.
I think he had more eyes than that, too, if you count all the little ones.
Well, true. But we did have 3 Vitreiuses today. Vitrii?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the plural of Vitreous is Vitrii. Or Vitri.
Yeah, either way, we've made it through the gauntlets. We are to our Aga 2 at the moment, or would this be considered Aga 1 since this is the first time we've seen him?
I don't know, I see 3 Agas. I think this is Aga 3.
Maybe I'm the one who needs some more new glasses now. Got a good trip on that first round there, but only a single on the second volley. Oh, but this is a great lineup. Oh, and down he goes.
And I saw 3 hits there, so I think he only got a double on that first one, actually.
I guess so there, but either way, that was a 3-round Aga 2. Can hardly get better than that.
But if you think Ganon is next, you would be wrong, because this is all Dungeon Seed, which means we have to be Aga 1 still, and the best way we can do that, bonk over the hole, and then mirror to get to the Aga Tower section.
Dimensional shenanigans.
I don't know why. I never thought that you could just bonk over that hole. I'm actually really happy to see that.
Well, apparently we can. That's still pretty cool to go. Look down again, and as you go over the bunk, hi, not ready to fight you. I'll see you in a minute. It's okay. Don't take too long.
Yeah, hey, Ganon, give me about 2 or 3 minutes. Depends on how many blue balls I get, but I'll be here.
You're gonna give me blue balls, so stay tuned. Sorry. Either way, we're going up the tower there. We're getting pretty easy enemies up along the way. Then we'll just be able to mirror right back to Ganon, and there we go. Meanwhile, Aaron is finishing up Desert as we speak. And then we'll be able to go over to Ganon's tower just as we saw DT.
Do have a hint here in Aga Tower, but don't think we're going to be reading that.
I mean, if you really wanted to show off, you could there, but where's the fun in that?
Yeah, but you don't want to be in a case where you know, have a chance to lose a race by 2 seconds because you checked a hint.
Well, okay, I can't say it has happened before there, but there have been some pretty close races this tournament so far.
Very, very true.
Also, to create some interesting logic there, that we just saw Ganon go into the Dark World pyramid there, and now he's here now? Is this now a magical clone of him? Is this just some robot? What's going on here? Is he showing off just for fun?
It's Randomizer. Who knows anymore? Anyway, while we're going through this fight, and, hopefully not getting too many blue energy ball attacks, I actually just now kind of put this together. I don't know why I had this slip my mind, but as far as the hint tiles are concerned, there will always be one hint tile that corresponds with the boots. So because of that, that was actually a pretty strong indication that the boots were in Hookshot Cave, because it said unique item was in Hookshot Cave, so could have actually utilized that a lot sooner.
Are they specifically coded to point to the boots, or is it just a quirk of the seed?
No, I think it's a thing where there is always one hint that tells where the boots are.
Very interesting. I did not know that.
I did not know that either until like the last seed I did. But Aga 1 goes down. DT is just one boss away from finishing the seed as Aaron enters Ganon's tower to look for that big key. If he goes... Well, he can't go straight right immediately because he needs a small key, and there wasn't one over there. But if he does like a Dark Magician route strat or something, could get that a lot earlier, but we'll see.
Ganon complains we didn't bring him food. Unfortunately, no. He didn't have any in his tower. I'm sorry, Ganon. Already into phase 3. All that's left is just waiting and taking the few hits and waiting through the teleports to get into phase 4. Then it's arrow time, and then we'll be done. That's 2 arrows into Ganon.
There, I think he's going to double this and finish up the fights. Just has to not walk off, and he should be good.
As someone in the chat said there, yes, Ganon, we did bring you food. We brought you bacon. Your GG's into the chat. Our first place finisher is In the Name of DT.
Yes, he finishes in first place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 30 seconds. Get your GG's in and see if we can get a quick interview in with him in just a few minutes.
Aaron isn't too far behind there, only has got 2 towers to climb. I can make a token joker out of that, but I don't really feel like it at the moment. Oh, the half magic was in the one chest directly after the Ganon's Tower big key. Not that it ended up really mattering with everything going on, but
anyway, I see DT in the waiting room. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him in here. Joining us, we have In the Name of DT, our winner for this race. How are you doing after that fun Randomizer seat?
Let me go grab my dictionary real quick. I think you're misusing the word fun.
Okay, fair enough.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Just got done.
I'm doing well.
Nice.
So, what was the most interesting parts of this seed, in your opinion?
I don't know that I could define something as interesting in this seed. Just really, really brutal. A lot of rooms were almost unfair in a sense, but I guess that's Randomizer. Coupled with my execution just really, really suffering through a lot of locations tonight. I guess that's noteworthy in the sense of interesting, I suppose, but I don't really know what else to say.
Yeah, finding your first boss's Trinex is not fun in the least there, and there were some hard patterns that we got along the way as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon to find Trinex early on, knowing that you only have like 3 items in your inventory. I think my problem was when I finally got back there, it was just death after death after death, and then I thought about going up to Skull Woods and then realized, wait, I still don't have any magic because I just used it all on Trinex. I can't get to the back half of Skull Woods. So, yeah, that's when I went to go and get a potion and at least take out Trinex once and for all.
Yeah, I noticed that in that Trinex fight, you know, the first time you officially fought him, like actually had the opportunity to fight him, it seemed like you had him down, but then in that second phase, like the layout of the room kind of like changed his pattern a little bit. Did that kind of like throw you off, or because of his movements and whatnot?
Yeah, I think that was really the big thing that first time, because I've got a decent sense of how Trinex moves, but with the room being so much smaller, he made a turn a little bit earlier and came straight at me before I could react.
Yeah, that's definitely what it looked like, for sure.
I'm just glad that there were still some funny parts of Randomizer, like the room right before Laser Bridge, where you have the 1 tile wide bridge. And
that was hilarious. I did see that.
Left and right. And then the big yellow spike eye thing in the first torch room of GT. It's like,
oh yeah, we were looking at like, how on earth are you supposed to deal with that? Like, yeah, Aaron is going in that room right now. Again, hopefully, he's getting pretty lucky with the movements.
Yeah, Randomizer is definitely, like, you know, it does have these, you know, moments of frustration, as we talked about earlier, but, you know, it definitely can lead to some frustration, for sure, so, or it leads to some funny instances, rather. So, yeah, because I know that you and I and Aaron play a lot of, like, Randomizer and, like, for fun seeds, so that's definitely something we laugh about a lot, so, you know, it is,
yeah,
that stuff comes up.
Definitely. I think it's a little bit easier to laugh when it's not a tournament seed, though.
Fair, yeah.
But I guess at the end of the day, it should all be treated the same. It's just a fun, silly game.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you can't take anything too seriously there, otherwise it just saps the fun out of it. And where's the point? What's the point in that?
I agree.
I mean, as far as the race itself, I don't know if you've talked to Aaron too much about the run, but you know, it was fairly interesting in seeing you both progress. Aaron did take a bit of a lead just in kind of focusing on dungeons and crystal clearing. Well, you know, it took a while for you to get your first boss down, but then once you kind of got some stuff, you actually ended up tying them, and both of you were taking out Vanilla Mothula in Skull Woods at the exact same time.
Wow.
Literally, the only difference was that you had the sword advantage, and then you also chose to go to Ice Palace first before, and Aaron chose to go to Swamp Palace. So that's when you found your items, and you know, you got the hint about Hookshot Cave. So always one hint that points to boots. So you know that I imagine that was definitely on your mind as you were going through that.
Not so much. I actually wasn't aware that the boots had their own hint, guaranteed in every seed. But when I saw the hint saying that there was a unique item in Hookshot Cave, I was kind of thinking, you know, maybe it is, because there's not a whole lot of unique items left at this point. So I could have prioritized that before Swamp, but chose not to. And then when I finally got to Hookshot Cave and I saw the book, I was like, well, maybe there's another unique item here, and yeah, sure enough, there was. It was kind of neat. When I got the hookshot, first thing on my mind was, well, Aaron was probably here like 40 minutes ago because he loves Ice Palace, and I was kind of thinking at that point, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna win this.
I want to say for Aaron's routing, and again, if he decides to come in later, we can verify that or not. But when he was kind of routing stuff in before he had the decision, he had just finished purple chess, so Swamp was just right there. So because of that, I think that kind of like leaned him to go into there first. But yeah, at that point, like it was just kind of a toss-up of which of you guys was correct in the decision that you made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely the turning point in the run.
It was a thing. That's really all I can say.
I mean, hey, yeah, pretty much. At least we got a nice four-eyed Moldorm out of it, so...
Dorm, some people in the chat were calling it.
Yeah. Also, the chat was definitely appreciating a lot of your swag movements, the Samaria dash, bonking over the pyramid hole before going into Aga Tower. So definitely putting on a pretty flashy show for the viewers down there.
There's no intent to be flashy whatsoever. It's just normal strategies that I know of.
Well, they enjoyed it nonetheless. But yeah, Aaron currently working on Aga Tower. He should be finishing fairly soon. I guess just as a general question and interest, because I know that you and Aaron are good friends, and it was definitely surprising to see you both in the same group. Like, how'd you kind of prepare for a match against someone who is not only a friend but someone who you play with on a pretty regular basis, or do you just still kind of just treat it as just like a normal match, or just for a fun match?
It's tough to say because yeah, on one hand we play a lot of shenanigan mode seeds just casually outside of the tournament. Mm-hmm. And so going into the tournament, it's like I want to keep it fun. He is a good friend of mine. Yeah. I don't know. It's really tough to say because on the other hand, this is the tournament, and I think that he and I are both able to separate the friendship from the tournament, at least temporarily, and we know what each one actually means, and we're gonna try to do our best in each one of those situations.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a good spirit to take it and be able to take into things.
I will say, though, it is kind of unfortunate that you can't do Tri-Key-Senna Frenemisor, or whatever we call it.
Key-Senna Triforce Miser, one of those?
Yes, that's it.
Is that a custom mode that you have invented between the two of you?
Kind of. I mean, if it had really been up to me, like if the tournament didn't have rules, I would have made him play puke mode, because that's normally what we do.
Can't say I'm familiar with that one, and I'm not sure if I even want to know.
Basically, it's like the color palette swap, except there's no limitation to what colors can be matched with other colors. So it looks like puke.
I was gonna say, does it look like puke, or does it make you want to puke?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we got Aga 1 fight here.
Aga 1 with some sweet in-rhythm sword swinging.
Oh yeah, I guess that was another thing. Aaron did also kind of full cleared Meyer as well before he ended up getting the boots. So that was also, a bit more of a time loss as well.
No, yeah, with where the big key was, having to do anything extra there would have just taken a lot of extra time.
Yeah. Okay, Aga 1 down. Just the Ganon fight remaining for AaronDobbe. So yeah, with that, with this victory under your belt, that's 3 wins and a loss for you now, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, well, definitely best of luck in the rest of your matches. because I know you had 2 today, and it's always tough doing 2 matches in one day or just 2 races in general. So, you know, definitely kudos on getting both wins in that department.
Yeah, thank you. It's tough for sure if they're back to back, especially. But tried to space it out and have a couple of hours between. But I don't think I'll ever do 2 in the same day again if I can help it. It's rough.
Yeah,
Were
definitely.
you risking confusing the 2 seeds?
That's always a concern, but I actually don't think that happened at all. And that might have been because there were a couple hours in between. But either way, I'll let you guys finish up on the end of Aaron's race. So, Slim, Phantom, thanks for commentating, and whoever's tracking, thank you.
No problem. Thanks for running this race, man. But yeah, with that, AaronDobbe is on phase 4 of the Ganon fight, so going to be finishing this up very, very shortly. And there we go, shortly indeed.
All right, and Aaron does finish this seed there. We'll get an official time fairly shortly.
Okay, looks like he has finished in 2nd place with a time of 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 31 seconds, exactly 13 minutes and 1 second after DT's finish.
We will see if we can get him in for a quick interview if he so desires. And look at all the pretty little skeletons in front of Hyrule Castle having a little skeleton party.
And here he is joining us inside the commentary box. We have AaronDobbe, 2nd place finisher. GG on finishing. And how are you doing after that, friend?
Oh boy. Yeah, this was sort of physically and psychologically punishing, spiritually punishing.
It was a long seed.
Long seeds, some very tricky rooms early on, some very brutal bosses early on, especially considering equipment. You know, definitely kudos on the, you know, after the attempt that you couldn't finish due to not having the items, but good attempt on the Trinex fight when you actually had the fire and ice rod with only hammer. So good job on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it's like Swordless Trinex and a lot of low equipment Turtle Rock in general is something I have a lot of practice with because I play entrance a bunch. So I often find myself doing stuff in Turtle Rock early with not a whole lot. So yeah, Trinex I'm pretty comfortable with.
Yeah, and DT definitely had some issues with that, mainly just due to the room layout of it being a much smaller room and everything. You had some issues with Vitreous and Pod, though.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just forgot how much damage I took from the eyes. I thought I had 1 hit left in my pocket, and I could have popped a potion after that, but I didn't. I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is, and you know, that's the kind of the nature of Randomizer, is that, you know, you do get some of those frustrating moments, in addition to all those hilarious enemy setups as well. So
yeah, Randomizer is always good for a good laugh every now and then. Freaking spikes where they really should not be.
What do you mean there's no room on it? Plenty of room for me.
Yeah, lots of things like extremely threatening rooms in the vanilla game becoming absolute jokes, or vice versa. I'm a little bit disappointed that there was nothing in Chicken Hut to murder you as soon as you walked in. I'm used to going in there and being met with like 5 red guards and a spike trap or something.
Yeah, really. So I imagine you've talked to DT quite a bit about the run already, but you know, just kind of one question I had is, you know, when you both of you were finishing Skull Woods at nearly the exact same time, and at that point, you know, you kind of had that choice between Ice Palace and Swamp Palace. What was kind of going through your head in choosing Swamp Palace? Was it just like an adjacency thing, or were you trying to kind of mind game a little bit, thinking that DT maybe had items you didn't? Or
yeah, that's all it was. Is that I was feeling extremely behind, which I think is probably understandable. So I felt like I needed to try and make a desperation play and do something dumb. So I decided to dip Swamp Palace first in hopes that I would find something there. It was the same with going to Mire before going up to Hookshot Cave, where I knew there was a unique item, because I thought that if the boots were in Mire, then I would be able to clear Desert Palace right away and do Ganna's Tower in the same trip as Turtle Rock.
Yeah,
that didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's the, you know, kind of the whole point of the hint system is that, yeah, there is a unique item there, but that could have just as easily been the powder or the mushroom or the shovel. So
or the Cane of Burna too. I didn't know where that was. I
don't
know if I had found the single arrow. It could have been that.
True. That's another thing chat was kind of like pushing for a little bit, but so yeah, like, you know, it's definitely understandable gambles that were made. So, you know, definitely, you know, good effort on making them. Like, it's a very hard call to make, especially in a tourney match like this, and especially when, you know, you're kind of up a really good friend as well. It's just, you know, a lot of stuff going through your head. So
yeah, not only a really good friend, but a really good player. And of course, you know, DT picked the modes, and there was nothing on the list here that gave me an advantage over him. So I felt like I needed to definitely perform very well in order to win, and I felt like I wasn't doing that, so I decided to try and make some deals with the devil that didn't work out.
Well, there's always next time for those deals to work, so.
No, absolutely. Yeah, don't worry. I'll be taking him to something a little more advantageous to me next time.
Any want to give any hints, or do you want to kind of keep that under wraps, or
I mean, DT himself invited me to take him to inverted mode and kick his ass, so
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but I think that I am more comfortable with the mode than he is, so that's what we're doing next time.
We'll make sure to look forward to it in that case.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. Either way, I'm definitely looking forward to our next match. Like I always look forward to playing with DT, so it'll be good either way.
Well, glad to hear it. It was definitely a lot of fun watching you both play, especially in a race setting like this. For me personally, I know that was like one of the things when I saw that reveal that both of you were in the same group. I'm like, oh wow, these are races I want to watch. So, you know, I know you guys will make them interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely something really cool. Is that I don't think that I've ever been in groups with someone that I had a lot of experience playing with already. So it's a new experience, and it's kind of fun being able to at least bring some knowledge of how he plays and how good he is at the game to the metagame.
For sure, and as my co-com partner said, we'll definitely look forward to that. So thank you both for the entertaining race. Any last things you want to state before we kind of close this broadcast out?
Yeah, just thanks to you guys for the commentary and everyone behind the scenes for the restream and tracking, and everyone who came out and watched. Appreciate it, and looking forward to the next one.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. GG once again.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Phantom Fox. Well, with that, I think we're going to wrap this up. It was a joy to commentate with you. Thank you to Mr. Broadstone for keeping the tracker up to date behind the scenes as well. And yeah, we'll join you guys for some more tournament matches in the future.
Indeed, it was my pleasure to join you there. I believe we have on Speed Gaming 3, we've got Chex Human versus Kyong92 about a half hour into the seed right now, if you are craving some more rando madness. But until then, we will see you next time, and come join us again. Catch us if you can.
Later, folks.